Thanks for sticking around. This is Straight Talk with Professor Arthur Lee. Now, Professor Lee, Executive Council member and also a member of the Hong Kong University Council. Before the break, you said, no, there was no pressure from the central government or Chief Executive Siwa Leung for you to block Professor Johannes Chan's appointment as Pro-Vice-Chancellor. But Siwa Leung did appoint you to the council, right?
He did. He asked me in March if I would replace Lester Wang, who has resigned. At that time, I said I have to think about it because my brother is Pro-Chancellor of the university, and having another council member might cause raise eyebrows. But subsequently, he said, well, the Pro-Chancellor's post is ceremonial, and this is more dealing with the university issues. Then my second consideration was I've been with Chinese U for many years. I was Vice-Chancellor of Chinese U. I said, would that cause a bit of problem? And he said, well, when you were Secretary for Education and Manpower, you've acted very fairly. In fact, I was the one that actually signed off the Centennial Campus for Hong Kong U. Now, if I was against Hong Kong U, I could easily block that Centennial Campus development. I didn't. I encouraged it, and I gave my okay, and I signed off on it. So, you know, there's nothing that I have done that I should be ashamed of, and there's nothing that I have done that is unfair to any institution.
Well, you say you've done nothing that is unfair, but, you know, the Hong Kong University convocation of alumni is now going to hold a no-confidence vote in you. Mm-hmm. Are you worried about that?
No, not at all, because I think people are entitled to their views. If they hold a no-confidence vote against somebody, you must have done something wrong.
So they believe you've done something wrong?
Exactly. Then I like to ask, what have I done wrong? I'm very interested to know what exactly have I done wrong.
You don't feel you've done anything wrong?
No. Well, can you tell me what I've done wrong?
Other than that, a lot of people don't like you.
Well, that is not a reason.
Well,
the important thing, Michael, is that before you pass a vote of no confidence, let's look at the person's track record. What has he done? What has he done that is bad? I haven't even got a track record. I've only been there 3 months.
That's correct. Right? You've been there 3 months.
Right? So surely the time to put a vote of no confidence in me is towards the end of 3 years of my post as council member, and to say during these 3 years you've been useless. You haven't voiced out any opinion. You didn't come to any meetings or whatever. Right?
Well, you've been there in 3 months, but you've surely created a lot of controversy. Now, as I said earlier, Professor Yuen Gok Yong, also a council member, has thought about, said he wants to resign. Since there's been so much chaos with this and with your membership of the council, will you consider resigning from the council?
I mean, whether I'm on council or not is not an important issue. The important issue, as I see it, is that are we going to succumb to intimidation, to smear campaigns, where people's freedom are being deprived?
You feel you've been smeared?
Of course.
You think the council has been smeared?
Of course. Very much so.
By whom and for what reason?
Well, obviously, they say that we delay the appointment. In fact, there is no delay. Absolutely none whatsoever. The paper was on the appointment came up in end of June. And at that point, we were about to appoint a provost who is directly, closely associated with this post of vice president. Now, unlike the other posts, this post is actually his deputy.
Right.
Now, if you're going to appoint somebody, surely it's just out of courtesy to look at the prospective candidate who is going to be appointed within a couple of months and say, what do you think about it? Now, he may say yes, he may say no, he may say I have no opinion, but at least that's courtesy. So I don't think, and this post's been empty for 5 years.
A lot of years, I know.
5 years. But so a couple of months to wait for the guy to come on board and to give an opinion, I don't see that as a problem.
But the thing is now, the tradition apparently is that the search committee names a person and the council, who you're a member of, then endorses it. Should that happen? Will it happen? Because you're going to have a meeting again in September to discuss
in August.
In August.
Yeah, the
you
next
have a
meeting is
meeting.
August.
All right.
Yeah.
And will at that time make a decision. Why delay? Search. You said the papers haven't come yet, but surely by when your next meeting you will have it. Do you think a decision will be made to appoint Professor Johannes Chan as Pro Vice Chancellor?
I think the issue will be discussed within the next couple of months. There's no question in my mind. Because,
will he end up as Pro Vice Chancellor?
Well, it will be up to the council to decide. This is a democratic process, and it's up to the councillors to weigh up the pros and the cons, whether this appointment is of benefit to Hong Kong U or whether it will harm Hong Kong U. And
you think his appointment will harm Hong Kong U?
I can't say for sure at the moment because I haven't quite caught on to his motives. It's very strange, Michael. When the search committee is still going on, you turn around and say, I'm the only candidate, I'm prepared to, and I can assume duty in March. I mean, I find that very incredible. And then you don't go around saying the people who are about to appoint you that they're stupid. This is not the way to go about getting an appointment, is it?
Well, let's watch another clip. That's clearly you being confronted by, as you said, mob rule. Now, some other reports have come out saying that the Vice Chancellor, Peter Matheson, had said apparently that he regretted that the police were called in that night. And some other council members were not very happy that he said that. Do you think the police should have been called in sooner? Some people were prevented from leaving. Now, the Vice Chancellor said he regretted the police were in there. Do you regret it?
I felt very threatened. I was deprived of my freedom of movement. I was deprived of food. I was not allowed to go out and have my dinner. I was ridiculed. I was shouted at. It was a very uncontrollable situation. The security office, I have to say, of the University of Hong Kong did a marvelous job. They tried to protect me, and I appreciate that very, very much. But they were totally outnumbered, and the whole place was just chaos. Now, obviously, I can understand that one doesn't want, these are our students after all,
Sure.
One doesn't want them to be charged for criminal offense or being put in jail. But at a certain point, you've got to have order and maintain order. And when order is totally out of control, for an ambulance not able to leave for the hospital, not able to come in to pick up the injured, not able to leave for 45 minutes, now tragic consequences could happen. I mean, what happened if Professor Low did not injure his knee but had a heart attack, or some other people have a heart attack?
Right.
And it's very unfair to the lady members of council. These are gentle ladies.
So you think the police presence there was justified?
I think it was fully justified, yes.
So then do you fault Professor Matheson for saying he regretted it?
No, he said he regretted it. Means that he wished it hadn't happened. And I wish it hadn't happened as well.
But you think that police should have been there?
I think police should have been there.
So what happens next now, Professor Lee? What happens next? Some people say that the chief executive should no longer be the chancellor and should no longer have the right to appoint members to the council. Should the chief executive no longer be the chancellor of universities in Hong Kong?
Well, let's put it like this. Our university are publicly funded institutions. If you are a privately funded institution, I don't think you have any right to interfere. But if you're a publicly funded institution and using our money, our taxpayers' money, surely the government who pays you have a say into how that university should be run. Now, that's not interfering with autonomy or interfering with academic freedom. That is
so the chief executive should be continue to be the chancellor.
I think in fact, Mr. Dong once didn't want to be chancellor when I was vice chancellor. He said it was too onerous, it's too much of a job, he has to go to 8 institutions for the ceremony, and he hasn't got the time. And all 8 of us persuaded him to stay on.
All right. I've just got 30 seconds. One last question. Should the students who barged in there, so far they've faced no consequences, should they face any consequences?
I think people should face consequences of their action. Whatever you do, whatever you say.
Should they be charged?
Well, it's up to the university. Right? I think as council member, it's not up to me to discipline the students.
Right.
It'll be up to the Vice-Chancellor.
Okay, thank you very much. See you next time. Good evening.